This is No Face Bigfoot, and welcome to my pickups video for Wednesday, October 20th, 2020. And it is Thursday the 22nd, and it is a gorgeous day outside here up in Westmoreland County, right almost on the Potomac River. Low 70s, hardly any wind, hardly any humidity. Oh yeah, and no bugs, no flies, just nice weather. Even the dogs are not even astir today. But hopefully you can hear that airplane I love the sounds of it. But anyway, what we came here for is the Atari 26 Throwback Zines that I got off of Amazon. And I've had these for a while, and yeah, anyway. We're going to start off with one of the worst video games on the Atari 2600 in all time. And the story behind this is absolutely insane because they only had the guy who created the game only had 6 weeks to actually make the game, program it, do everything on it. Actually, it's actually kind of playable. It's not a bad game, but it was just considered so bad that they actually had to bury it out in the New Mexican desert. And lo and behold, it was about a year and a half ago. It was in April. What was it, 2018 to 2019? And they actually found all the ET cartridges because the game was just considered so bad. The reason the Reese's Pieces on there because you have to find a Reese's Pieces in the game a little bit, and put the phone together, and so you can call phone home and escape. And there was a bunch of Reese's Pieces commercials as well. And it's just weird. So this issue goes along about that. And as you can see, it's November 2019. So it's been a while since I did one of these videos. I'm actually going to go through what's in these magazines, 2 or 3 at a time here, coming up soon after I read them. So again, they have Donkey Kong in there. And just to show you what it looks like on the inside. It's nothing really special. And it shows you pictures and everything. And it gives you a little bit of strategy. But to be honest with you, again, there's the map. In some ways, these are very basic magazines sometimes. And there's Defender, one of my favorite arcade games there. But anyway, issue 19, December 2019, is about Superman versus Spider-Man. Jungle Hunt Strategy Guide, which is one of the best video games. It has one of the most awesome stories behind it. Especially behind the lawsuit, because of imitating or being Jungle King because of imitating Tarzan. Strategy Zone and Battle Zone. And of course, Spider-Man was probably way better than the Superman game. Superman was actually pretty playable. One of my favorite classic games, Space Invaders. And this was the very first hit game for any console. So this was a blockbuster when it came out. You also have Wizard of War, which I believe is a homebrew for the Atari. And a 2600 Club Pac-Man. I think it has beaten the score or something, but it tells you in here. And again, page 42. Oh, it talks about Mario Brothers in here too, which actually was pretty decent. Not Super Mario, but Mario Brothers. Yeah, this is just a club summary of scores to beat. So. And pretty much I've beaten all these scores. Probably not now, because I haven't played my Atari in a while. Here's another one. Golf was one of the strangest games, and it was kind of clunky how to control, but once you knew how to play it, it was actually very simple. Nowhere near as good as the Intellivision version of the game. But it's actually pretty decent. My low score was like 28 or 29 on it. Of course, I actually show you where you can cheat on it. There are 2 videos on this channel, and I might actually, underneath this, just link that so you can watch the video and see what the game looks like. Mario Brothers, Ikari Warriors. Actually, again, not too bad for the Atari 2600, but nothing compared to the real game. Alright. The Empire Strikes Back. Woo! Atari Club Results. Crystal Castles, which was one of my favorite It's one of my favorite arcade games from I think it came out in '83. And it was a fun game. And of course you had, it just, I don't know how to describe it. You had to get, it was like Pac-Man on crack. And you had the trackball instead of a joystick. And like you had these creatures, and like if you catch them when they're eating, you can eat them. And you had bees that that chase you around if you take too long. Sort of like the bees on 720. Circus Atari, another good game. Human Cannonball. Again, I didn't really play too much of this. I think this is based on Circus, the actual game. Yeah, and I played this in an arcade quite a bit, so I remember this game. They had this at the 10-Pin Coliseum Bowling Alley in Richmond. I remember it too. I was actually pretty good. Now here's one of the most controversial digital pinball games of all time. Now the Atari 2600 version, no problems in Midnight Magic. Unfortunately, the Atari 800 and the 7200 version and other computer versions were based on an exact duplicate of Black Knight Pinball, which came on in 1980, which happens to be one of my email addresses for pinball. And this was actually a pretty decent game. It was a tremendous upgrade on video pinball, which I'll talk about later. And you actually had playfield multipliers. You could go up to 5x. See this right here? If you knock down all 5 of those targets, or if you hit the target where the arrow was, you actually could up the playfield. So, and this also had a post in the middle of the playfield, although it was a block, ball saves. And this game was actually very revolutionary because a lot of pinball machines did not have this until later on. They had ball saves, but usually hardly any games at this time had a post in the middle. Another one, this one I never really played, boxing, pole position, really good conversion for the Atari. Zookeeper, I don't even know if they actually even made that for the 2600. But again, it's one of the most frantic arcade games there is. And the job is not really to keep the animals in the cage. It's to jump over as many as at one time to get the most points possible. So, very strange game. Let's see about the football here. See what they talk about. Or see what he talks about. Let's see, what page is that on? Oh, they talk about Galaxian, but Atari 2600 bowling, I've talked about that before. I do not see the football in here. Unless I'm losing it. Yeah, there we go, page 15. Right there at the top. Oh, there's a good game, Alien. And I believe this looks like Real Sports Football. Yeah, which was not a very good game, but it was very playable. Here's another copy. So 2 copies of that. Alien. Possibly the best Pac-Man clone in the Atari 2600. Because Lock and Chase was really good, but it was way superior on the Intellivision and other consoles than the Atari. But Alien was really good. I mean, you eat a power pellet, you eat the aliens. And it was a really good game. We have a new Dragster champ because the guy who claimed he had a record found out it was impossible. All his records were wiped out, and he banned from Twin Galaxies, I think. Pac-Man 8K, again, one of the most stunning Atari 2600 games you'll ever find. It's just incredible just how like the graphics on it, because the Atari is, it's the oldest mainstay console, major console that sold anything. It's not the oldest console, but it is the oldest one as far as major consoles. I just want to show you in here too. This is what it looks like. So, very good. Okay, and there are the graphics. And these are actually very good graphics for, the early 80s. And then right here, let's go to 33. And this is I've actually played this on my, Stella emulator? Just look at that. Very beautiful. I mean, very close to this is an Atari game now. Atari 2600. Very good looking. And again, nothing amazing by today's standards, but for the Atari 2600, this is outstanding. And they even got the X in between. So this is just simply amazing. I'll talk about this more in the future. And then, again, another one of my favorite games in the 80s, Commando. The Atari Warriors one was actually at 6th Street Market in Richmond when they used to have an arcade there in the 90s. Club Miss Pac-Man, again, probably the best Pac-Man game on the entire system, right behind Junior Pac-Man. Okay, again, notice I didn't say clone. All right, we got Commando, and they talk about Crazy Climber, which is, yeah, there we go, Crazy Climber. And if we go here, there's Pac-Man. There we go. Now, of course, Atari Age was one of the most popular magazines back then. So, I think that was through the mail. And this is what the game looked like in the arcade, and then what it looked like on the Atari. And again, nothing like the arcade game, but it still looks really good. I mean, can't beat that. All right, there are more screenshots, and I'll do more on this in the future. There we go, Mountain King. I never played that game. Don't even know what it's about. Venture, yeah. Not a very, it plays okay on Atari, but it's not very good. And one other thing I want to show you, this is what I do in my spare time. I like to do crossword puzzles. And this is the gold edition. This is from the crossword club that goes through Penny Dell puzzle magazines. And this is just incredible because these are actually custom made puzzles. They're supposedly among the best in the world. And these are all Sunday-sized puzzles. So I like doing this on my own time, doing puzzles, because it makes me use my mind. I love it when they do stuff like this, like the clues. And then this one has equations in it. Hades plus wood plus measure plus Pismire. I don't know what they're talking about, but once you figure out a couple of the long ones, usually you can figure them out. So I usually get the Sunday crosswords where they go from the kind of the easy up to the super duper challenger hard. And I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but stuff is falling off the trees in the background. Anyway, let's go back here. Sun's going down now, but I just want you to see what it looks like out here. And it'll be another half hour before it gets dark here, but you know, back in North Dakota, it would stay dark till, 7:30 at night. And especially Halloween, it was like 7:15. And of course, you had to make sure kids don't egg your car. So if you don't see any lighting here, it's because it's getting dark. But it's beautiful out here, and I just want you to see it. And whether you like the weather, the video, or what you saw in here, I just want to thank you for watching. If you watch all 13 and a half minutes of this video, man, that's awesome. I just love everyone. Thanks for watching. Slap that thumbs up button if you love this video. And if you slightly like it, just slap it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'm out.